This week on the Business Owners Corner, I'd like to talk about a couple retirement plan deadlines that we are approaching because we're rapidly approaching Q4 and the end of the year. If you're someone who has a business and you are looking to establish a 401k plan for tax year 2022, this is very relevant to you. October 1st is the IRS deadline for establishing a 401k plan. And given that we're very close to approaching October 1st, this takes a little bit of legwork. It requires some help from a third-party administrator. A lot of third-party administrators I know won't take on new business at this stage of the game. But if you're someone who wants to create a 401k plan for this year, please reach out to a third-party administrator immediately and get that ball rolling. Now, there are a lot of different types and flavors of 401k plans, and one really popular one that I'm a big fan of are solo 401k plans. So if you have a business but you don't have any employees, the deadline is different. You can use what's called a solo 401k and establish and fund it anytime before the tax deadline of your return for the business. So if you have an S corporation or are taxed as one, if you have a multi-member LLC or a partnership, your due date for creating and funding a solo 401k is going to be March 15th of 2023. If you have a sole proprietorship or a single member LLC or a C corporation, your due date will be April 17th of 2023. Now, what's the definition of employees? You can still have independent contractors that work for you that are not participants in the plan, and therefore keeping you eligible for a solo 401k. You can have W-2 employees that are part-time as long as they don't work for more than 1,000 hours a year, are not 21 years of age yet, or have not been working for you for a year. You can exclude them if they meet that criteria. But if you have people who maybe are full-time and just haven't worked for you for a year or are not old enough, you should know that while you can create a solo 401k plan now, as soon as those people become eligible, you need to amend the plan and allow them in as new participants. And that takes a little bit of legwork too. But theoretically, if you don't have employees now, but you will later, you could start with the solo 401k plan now and then make the changes when you have eligible employees. Now, that's not the only type of plan you need to be aware of. SEP IRAs are another popular type of plan. The deadlines for that in terms of creating a new plan and funding it, putting money into it that's tax deductible this year are the same as for solo 401ks. March 15th of next year for partnerships, multi-member LLCs, S corporations, April 17th of next year for single member LLCs, sole proprietorships, and C corporations. Now, simple IRAs are another popular type of plan. With the simple IRA, you have this notice period at the end of every year where you communicate to your participants how the business will be putting money in on their behalf. And it's either a match or a non-discretionary contribution, where the match, if your employees put money in, the business matches it in some way, shape, or form. If it's non-discretionary, you just put in a flat percentage of their W-2 compensation, regardless of whether the participant puts money in on their own. You can change that election year to year, but you have to give your participants notice. So there's a window at the end of the year, November 2nd through December 31st, that your participants can elect to opt in, to opt out, to make changes on their own. You have to furnish this notice by November 2nd. So if you have a simple IRA plan, keep it in the back of your head that you're going to have a disclosure to communicate to your participants coming up. And if you're someone who has a simple IRA, but you want to get rid of it, if you want to make any kind of changes at all, it just needs to be in writing. Your brokerage firm or advisor or whomever is helping you with it probably has some document that you can use and recycle, but you have to give it out by November 2nd to give your employees and participants 60 days to make a decision on how they're going to react to it in anticipation of the subsequent year starting on January 1st. So we're coming up toward the end of the year. If you're a business owner that has any one of these plans and you're considering starting one or making changes to it, these are deadlines that you need to know about because we're rapidly approaching the end of the year. All right, hope this was helpful. I'll talk to you all again soon.